Do you know that 5% of increase on your customer loyalty can increase your profitability for up between 25 and 95%? Isn't it incredible to think that 5% of your customers can increase so much? And so this is so important. I mean, it's just crucial for any businesses to really look after their customers. We want to have some secret on how to look after our customers. And guess what? I've got a guest here who may just be able to help us. Hello there, Richard. How are you?
Claire, I'm giggling here. I'm loving your passion. So many people are what we call energy neutral. They talk, and you just want to turn the station, or But your passion, your excitement, your enthusiasm is contagious. I love it. Thank you.
And then we obviously, Richard, we've met through kind of online networking event. We are opposite side of the world. You're, US based and I'm UK based kind of things. But we share two things. We share secrets.
Yes.
And we share customer service passion. We have both a bit of a passion for that kind of things. And somebody told me that you have a little book which is kind of launching this week, which is really exciting. So tell me, what is your secret, Richard?
The secret is getting stuff done. I mean, as you know, I actually wrote this book 3 years ago, and finally I'm adding it not only to my website, Claire, but putting it on Amazon. Hello. So, yeah, and the book, ladies and gentlemen, is about the secrets of creating customers for life.
Yeah.
Kind of you spoke to it, that the data shows that it costs between 5 and 25% more to secure a new customer than it does to keep an old one. And by the way, in the introduction to the book, I make a distinction. If you look up the word customer and client on the internet, because Google knows everything, they essentially,
of course,
they essentially say it's the same thing. I make a distinction, though. What is a customer? You go into a gas station, you go into a convenience store, you receive the goods, you pay your money, and there's no responsibility from either party from that point on. A client is someone that you nurture and you keep because you want the repeat business. And the repeat business, I already said, between 5 and 25% more to get a new one than to keep an old one. So whether you're a physician or an entrepreneur or a clothier, it doesn't make a difference. You want to nurture that. Your job, if you're an entrepreneur, and you are, otherwise Becky watching this for, is to find suspects out in the field. Turn them into prospects. That means it's almost a pre-qualification. Are they right for you? Turn them into clients. Turn them into raving fans so they tell everyone about you. And I'll talk a little bit more about those kinds of things. Now, Claire, my understanding is that that is your expertise. About how did you come to be the master? And you have your book, of course, about creating the enduring person in your life and business.
Yeah, Richard, I grew up in a restaurant. So my dad had a restaurant down the south of France. And I guess when you're in that environment, you either love it or hate it. And I loved that interaction with people. I love seeing people having fun and coming back and referring and recommending you. And I've always thought it was just an amazing way to make people feel good by just being nice. And isn't it just the basics of customer service? Just being nice and trying to help somebody. It's not complicated customer service, is it, really, when you think about it? Being polite, being helpful, caring person, that's basics. So wherever you are in the world, anybody could be doing that. And I think that's something that, you could you have inside that passion and that fire for it, but you can also give that and inspire people to do it and do it better. And that's where I wanted to kind of take it. And that's always been something that my mission, I always felt that it was my purpose to do that. You know what I mean?
And how did you turn that desire, that purpose into a business?
Well, this is, so I kind of continue in hospitality background. So I worked in Disney World in Epcot Center, and that was my first real experience. You know what I mean? Disney, they're doing it right. And that was 25 years ago. So you think 25 years ago, they already were masters of
Yes.
the customer experience. And so this was like, wow, this is amazing. I want to be doing more. So I run hotels and manage hotels. And then 11 years ago, I actually realized that here locally in Jersey, there wasn't any mystery shopping company. So measuring the customer experience, there was no one doing it locally.
Wow.
And so I saw a little gap in the market, and I decided to get rid of my job, sell my house, get divorced at the same time, and then and then set up the business doing that mystery shopping, which was the beginning of what I've been doing for the last decades, and it kind of grew from the mystery shopping to everything to do with employee experience and customer experience, because and I'm sure you talk about this in your book, we talk about the customer experience, but if your employees isn't cared for, if they don't feel cared, valued, they're never going to be performing, are they?
It's such an important point. We too many people look at employees as commodities. They're exchangeable. And what you say is so poignant, Claire, that if you treat them, or when you treat them like real people, they will perform for you in ways that you cannot imagine. I live in a place called Taos, New Mexico. Mm-hmm. Most people don't even know there's a whole part of the country, the Pacific Southwest. For reference, it's about 5 hours south of Denver. And there's a young lady here who has one of the most successful businesses in town. And what was interesting is I'm on the board of directors of a local entrepreneurial network. And she was a speaker one day. And Mary was talking about treating her employees like pure family, loving. Well, hold on. No, it's not. The outcome is different than you might expect.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because it's socializing and parties, have them over the house. And when business took a downturn and she asked them to take a pay cut, they said no, and they left.
Wow.
So she made a shift, Claire, and a total honor and respect on the new people who were coming in. Mm. Yes, there was the warmth, but not family. And she honored and she paid them more than the needed wage, much more than minimum. And when it came time, this is long before COVID, this is years ago, and it came time for her to request that they take a pay cut temporarily, they all stayed. And she's got people working with her for over a decade because of the commitment and the understanding. I was a principal, and you talk about hospitality. I was a principal in a startup restaurant here. And one of my roles was to create the policies and procedures. And what I wrote is that the employee, the wait staff, had not just the responsibility, but the authority to make the client right. And they didn't have to come to us as the owners, whether it was a free drink, a free dessert, and in a radical case, even a free meal, make the client right. And they will, especially today, I mean, you go and you review stuff online, and if you screw up, you are trashed.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And it's not treat people the way you want to be treated. It's treat them better than you want to be treated.
And empowering, it's a very powerful word, isn't it? Because that empowerment piece that you've been given your employees, a lot you a lot. You see some companies doing it and say, "Oh yes, we'll empower our staff," but they're not, and you see them not wanted, being shy and being afraid and being restricted into what they are able to do, and that means that they can't deliver that great service. They can't come back to their customers straight away, and then it gets into that leading of, oh, we'll call you back, or we'll email you, we'll come back to you, and that's when it kind of escalates, and then you get into complaint handling because the staff aren't empowered to actually look after their customers.
Yes. Yeah, this is a small town. There are 5,000 people here, and even in this size we have 100 eating places. Now, that includes the food carts as well as restaurants. A friend of mine recently sold, but she had a restaurant. And one day as I'm leaving, she asks me to go on a review site and post a review of my experience, which I gladly did. And I write about this in the book. Claire, what if she had asked me for my email address? Now, again, small community. And every week or every month sent an email with the specials of the week. And, this creates what's called top of mind awareness. And ladies and gentlemen, today you're one click away from something else. Loyalty has gone down, unfortunately. And if she had created an email list, which is easy. A friend of mine has an art gallery, and it's the same thing. I suggested that she has a mailing list, and every month, at least, our new artist works. And in a restaurant, it's so easy. Bring a new person in, get a free dessert. The point is top of mind awareness. People go where people go. And yes, there are some people who live in certainty and will go to the same restaurants, order the same thing at the same time of day. People live in uncertainty and they'll step into new places, but it's always top of mind awareness. And that's what you must create. Coca-Cola is the #1 soft drink on the planet. I believe they spent $4 billion last year to keep you thinking about Coke. That's pretty powerful. That's top of mind awareness.
And also it's thinking all the time. I mean, it's the same product forever. It's been the same product, right? They've added cherry here and they've made less sugar there, but in reality it's the same product. But now you see their campaign where they were putting the words, the names of the people, so you're buying your own can with your name. How personalized is that? Now they're doing quotes on the can. They've got inspirational quote for the day on the can. So again, it's about, what can you do to your customers who are going to make them connect on an emotional level, who really are going to make them feel like, your person, not just a number or part of thousands of people. Suddenly I've got my can with my name. I'm going to keep that can on my desk, because it's got my name on it.
Right.
Magic. It doesn't need, and I think a lot of the time people think, oh, customer service or customer experience strategy, we're going to have to spend thousands, hundreds of dollars or whatever. It doesn't have to be that complicated, does it?
No, it's be real. It's be real. And, you talk about business. People talk about B2B, business to business. Nonsense. No one does business to business. You're dealing with a person. You're dealing with a buyer, a salesperson, the CEO. Business to business is so high above, but we may forget that it's person to person. A friend of mine, a faculty member at CEO Space, was talking about the old adage that people love to do business with people they know, love, and trust. And I said, no, hold on. Not all the... Claire, when you go on Amazon and buy something, do you care who's on the other end? When you go into a grocery store, no, you don't care. Yes, people we know, love, and trust when it's that personal part, when it's the business that we're dealing. And again, the distinction between a customer and a client. For clients, yes, we want to know who we're dealing with. And I assert that people never buy the things that they need. They buy things they want.
Oh, this is so important, Richard. And I mean, that's something that even me this year, well, last year with the pandemic, it's kind of, it resonated and it just went bang on my head. It honestly, when you got that moment, you've heard it so many times, but actually that moment in time, you don't just hear it, you get it. And,
Yes.
I've got this program and I've got this, and you should be doing that for your employees' engagement, and you should be doing mystery shopping to measure this, and I know what everybody should be doing. I know what they need, but none of them want it.
Yeah, many of us have heard the expression, I won't shit on you if you won't shit on me. No, but when I bought my first Porsche, I was laughing. I didn't need it, but I sure as heck wanted it. And that's the way we live our lives.
Yeah, yeah.
What is it that we want? And where does that want come from?
Mm-hmm.
It comes from that now up close, warm, and personal feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine tells a story in San Diego, where I used to live. She wanted this little Mercedes two-seater sports car. And she went to a dealer, and the guy looked her up, and he figured he was going to make 2 sales that day. A beautiful woman. And he opened up the hood, and he showed her the gleaming chrome and told her about the brake horsepower. And after 10 minutes, she left. This is, he was impressing her with the mechanism of the vehicle. She drove all the way across town to another dealer, and the guy looked at her and said, Paige, have a seat in the car. Put your hands on the steering wheel. Put your hand on the gear shift. Imagine, with the roof off, driving along the beach here in San Diego, the looks you're going to get from people, the feel that you're going to have, the sound of that engine. Mm. She bought the car. You must know who you're dealing with and meet them on their level. One guy was selling the car.
Yeah.
The second guy from whom she purchased it was selling the experience.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing in your business and my business. And ladies and gentlemen, you're watching this, it's in your business too. People are buying the experience. Mm-hmm. Rarely are people buying what you're selling, they're buying you.
Yeah,
show up.
Totally.
Show up.
And I talk a lot about the 5 senses, because again, we're emotional people, so, when you actually be able to connect your customers at that emotional level, whether it's because it looks nice, it smells nice, you can touch it, or you can try those bacon sandwiches or whatever, that you're just those brand new sausages that you've just made, if you're able to do that with your customers, that's when they will really be connected with you as a brand. So even in marketing, even in the visuals that you use on social media, really kind of think about those 5 senses and how you connect with your, with your customers.
Tell me a little bit about your book, please.
Well, now you're asking. So I think I'm just trying to show it without too much light. The Secret Diary of a Mystery Shopper, Richard. I've had that book for quite a few years in my head, right? 10 years of doing mystery shopping. I've got a few stories to tell. And
let me pause you right there, because your energy just shifted. What's the most amusing story you have about mystery shopping? Amusing
one, right? A mystery shopper is supposed to be going incognito into your shop, with a series of questions that they know. They're looking at it, they're auditing, they're coming back, and then they staying incognito, right? And we had a mystery shopper who went into the shop and then she was buying a pair of jeans, and then she was trying something else, and then that assistant was amazing. She was really looking after her, how she could, oh, but that's not too big, that size should be smaller. Really, really, she did an amazing job. And that shopper went back the next day. That shopper went back the next day and giving her a card and a box of chocolate to say how lovely it'd been.
Wow. Wow.
So you can imagine we could never send her anywhere else in that shop again.
The quintessential people person. That's great.
So it kind of defeated the object. It was so sweet. I mean, she was just so grateful for, and actually as a shopper, you may do a purchase and then you get the money back after, you get a refund. No, she kept everything.
Wow.
So it's nice to be able to. And I know, people always say to me, "Oh, Claire, the bad story always sells better." But I always feel, if you can really show what an exceptional story turns out to be, and how, much more connected your customers become, they become more loyal, they won't go anywhere else, they'll tell their friends and family, and this is what you want to try to aim. It's that consistency in giving that exceptional customer service and that exceptional experience. More than service is really that experience. Like you were saying, you selling an experience you want people to experience from every level, and that's really where you're creating fans and you're creating that loyalty in your customers. So the book is a series of true stories, and there are some goods, there are some bads, and there are some exceptionals. And actually I'm continuing the stories with the book with a series of interviews. So if you're watching this video, click on the link below here, and then you can go and check out some of the other stories that we talk about, and continuing, because businesses learn from stories. So if you can tell more stories of, customer service, then the business can think, okay, well, what would happen to me if that was happening? How would we handle that? What process could we put in place to make sure this would work or this wouldn't work? And it's a great way to really bring reality, because they are real stories, and giving benefit to the businesses to really learn from them.
So by reading your book, ladies and gentlemen, is what I'm hearing, Claire, is that people are going to learn how to improve their service so they can turn those clients into raving fans.
That's it.
So you've got, no pun intended, but you've got secrets in there that they can develop, that they put into play. And nobody wants to increase their business. Nobody wants that. What they want is to increase their bottom line. And I mean, years ago, I knew someone who was grossing about $1 million in his business.
Wow.
Yeah, he was taking home $50,000. So he didn't want to increase business. He wanted his bottom line. And that's what, as an entrepreneur, at least in my perspective, that's what we all want. And, just coming through on the other side of this pandemic crap, I mean, we're the world, needless to say, is inside out and upside down. And hopefully, you remember those old spinning tops that we used to play with as kids? You wrap the string around and it spins on its axis.
Oh, yes.
And now it seems that the world is coming back on its own axis. And it's the opportunity to put into play the things that we've had a year to noodle on and nurture and become pregnant with and bring these ideas out. And the timing of your book is profound to bring it out to people, to transcend that flat line in business and enhance it. Again, remember, people go where people go. So as we build that loyalty, as we build there are no secrets. It's just, it's just reminding people, you said so poignantly, to treat people properly. And there are tools and techniques in this book where if you as a reader apply these things, even 10% of what's in there your bottom line will go up.
Absolutely.
And I'll give you an example, an ad. People pay money for ads. And how many people look at an ad and say, oh, I didn't get a client this week, so I'm killing it. What do you know about the lifetime value of a client?
Yes. Tell us.
And yes.
Absolutely.
Now, when you look at major corporations, they are data rich, and Google knows all of it. But they're data rich, and most small employers rather, don't even look at the lifetime value. And when you amortize that, and then you say, oh, it didn't pay this week, I've got a new client, and that client is worth X number of dollars, which is 10 times what I paid to secure that client, you're going to keep doing it. So it's those kinds of things that are in this book and how to do that exponentially. And there are exercises and programs to do this. So what is your goal for your book? Where do you want to get to? What's the reach of it?
So, what, for me, it's really about inspiring businesses to take action in their business, and how can they improve that, by looking and by enriching themselves and their employees, and always looking at solution before it happens. And I think if you've got, again, it's, you've got to have processes in place, and you have to understand the customer journey and all those kind of things, because the better you've got all those things, the less chance you're going to have that something's going to go wrong somewhere. So really be able to understand and help the businesses to create all those things through the stories, via mystery shopping. That means that the businesses are going to be a lot more efficient and consistent. I think that's a key word as well, Richard, isn't it? I'm sure you talk about it in your book, but the consistency, you could be great, exceptional one day, and then the next day you've got another employee, and then they're not. And that's, the customers, that's what they don't get, And again, with the pandemic, a lot of businesses have started opening up new communication channels. Oh, we can talk to you on WhatsApp. We can talk to you on chat box. We can talk to, but they really haven't thought about it, because there's nobody to answer the WhatsApp message, or there's nobody at midnight to answer the chat box, and it's not automated the right ways. And, so they're opening those channels, but they're not done the back end process to really make sure that the consistency of their delivery on that channel is the same that if you're ringing or if you're going on a website. So it's really important to look at a holistic approach to customer experience, to make sure that that consistency is really good throughout all of the channels. So it's quite important, really.
You mentioned something that's profound. How many people, and if you're watching this, how many of you have a website that doesn't have a phone number and email address on it? People have to fill out a form. Yeah. And we're talking about availability and servicing your clients. Look at your own behavior. When you go, perfect example, my girlfriend and I got stuck in snow. We have snow here where we live. It's ski country. And I needed to call a tow truck. And the first one is, we can't answer the phone now. We'll call you back. Well, hello. So it's the same, just kept going down the list until we found someone who said, I'll be there in a half hour. And it's the same thing with your website, ladies and gentlemen. If they can't reach you now, you're one click away from next. You must be responsive. They fill in a form and you get an autoresponder. Thank you for responding. We'll get back to you, in 7.5 months. You've got to make yourself available. It's barrier to entry kills businesses. And also, how many of you, when you call somebody, love to listen to the name of the business, the history, when they were incorporated, today's specials, the hours, here are the yeah, exactly. And oh, by the way, if you're still listening, please leave a message. No. If you were to call me, you would hear a very succinct message. You have reached Dr. Richard Kaye. Even if you think I have it, please leave your telephone number with the area code, and I'll return your call as soon as I can give you my undivided attention. What is that, 22 seconds? I have no idea.
Yes.
I mean, when you call someone in their messages, I'm either on the other line or with a client. Really? I mean, you may be at the theater. You may be, are you trying to impress people that you have another line?
Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yes, exactly.
Kiss.
Yeah. And again, take a look at what you enjoy listening or not listening to. I don't know about you. When I get one of those recordings, click next.
Yes.
Or, be available. No one's impressed that you're on another line. They know it's BS anyway.
And I think customer perception, I'm sure you talk about perception in your book as well, but, the perception of your customers isn't necessarily the perception of what you think you're delivering. So being able to measure your service, whether it's mystery shopping or whether it's something else, just getting some feedback from somebody would help you. If your customer perception meet your customer satisfaction, then you're getting that kind of real yes, we're good, we're doing okay,
Would you say that again? That is profound. Say that again.
So your customer perception meet your customer's expectations. That means your satisfaction. That means that you're really getting your customers who are going to feel that's that wow moment. That's, yes, I want to do business with those people.
Wow.
Because what they say from the outside is what they do from the inside. And that's actually, where we want to be.
Great. Yeah. Claire, how can people get in touch with you or get your book?
Well, I think you and I are going to have to put links under this video because I believe your book is going on Amazon this week. So how exciting is that?
Only 4 years old. So.
But you'll be able to download it on Kindle and buy also hard copies, yeah? I'm sure you would. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
The Secret Diary is also on Amazon, so we'll put both link into it. Show me your cover again. Look, we do a photo of the two of us with the books. Woohoo! How cool is that?
And just be aware, this says practical, powerful, and profitable.
The 3 Ps.
Yes, yes. Claire, thanks for playing. You're done with your day. I'm just getting started on mine. And I know you and I will see each other. We're both entrepreneurs. We play a lot in the same space. What a joy getting to know you and playing in your sandbox.
And thank you so much for sharing your stories and your book as well. People, just go in and click it and, get those practical things that you can put in place then and increase your customer loyalty. Very simple, very powerful. Thank you, Richard. I'll speak to you very soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.